But you ever notice when somebody else does something stupid, it's so obvious to you? And then it hit me. I was doing the exact same thing. Are you angry and bitter and resentful and desperately sad after losing your child and feel there is no way that you could ever, ever, ever possibly feel better? Guess what? That was me for a long time. I felt like the only way I could ever feel better would be to have my daughter back. Well, obviously, that's never going to happen. So I was trapped there. I was stuck forever. And I guess that would be my fate. That's really how I felt. But then something happened, completely unexpected. And I saw something that changed my whole outlook and the entire trajectory of my grief. I would never have predicted this. I did not think it was possible if I had not seen it myself with my own eyes. But something happened, and in this video, I want to share that story with you because it really, really changed me and it helped me. And you can experience this too. So here we go. Right around the time I lost my daughter, I also had just started dating someone. And that someone is my husband now. He had been recently divorced, like a few years ago. And I got to tell you, he was really bitter and angry about his divorce. And if you've been through a divorce, that's pretty much normal. So I get that. But here's the thing that really struck me, and it kind of honestly stuck in my craw. He would talk about his marriage, okay? He had been married to his childhood sweetheart. They were married for 26 years. Like, we're talking his entire adult life. And from time to time, he would kind of break off into stories about things that he did with his wife. And they were amazing. I mean, it sounds like for a long, long time, they had this amazing marriage. They, they didn't have children. They had careers. They had money. They traveled. They went on these big excursions. They went sailing. They did like all of these amazing things. And here's me, mesmerized by his stories. But at the same time, I kind of resented him because at that point in my life, I too had been married most of my adult life, and I was also divorced. But my marriage was nothing like his. I'm talking 20 years of very, very, very unhappy marriage. And he was so angry. He would always come back around to how it ended. And I get that. Marriages, when they end, it's very, very ugly. And, after all of these wonderful years that they had had together, something went wrong. He was unfaithful. He is very angry and bitter about that. And he would talk about that a lot. But for me, listening to all his stories, I hear these like amazing stories about all of the awesomeness that they had long before the bitterness happened. And I couldn't help but think to myself, do you not see how lucky you were? Like, most of your adult life was in this awesome relationship. And then I would compare that to my adult life and my yucko relationship. And I'd think, God, you are so ungrateful. Like, what is wrong with you? But do you ever notice when somebody else does something stupid, it's so obvious to you? But when we do it, can't see it at all. Don't see that. No, I would never do anything like that. And then it hit me. I was doing the exact same thing that he was doing. not about my marriage, about my daughter. She lived for 18 years. Okay, yeah, really wanted it to go on longer than 18 years, but I had 18 amazing years with this amazing, awesome, beautiful, wonderful girl that I'm so happy to have spent those years with. I was her mom. She was exceptional. She was extraordinary. She changed my life. I would never trade that in. Even in knowing in advance that I would only be for 18 years, I would still never trade that in because it was amazing. And there I was. And then I saw it. I was allowing my pain, my grief, my anger about how that beautiful relationship ended to completely override her entire life, like a lifetime of memories. Just got deleted out of the computer because all I could obsess about was her death. When I saw that, oh my God, I thought to myself, I don't want to be that person. Ugh, I was like so ashamed of myself. And I realized she had a beautiful, gorgeous life, but all I can do is obsess about how she's gone now. And I never talk about how awesome she was. I thought it was honoring her memory, but honestly, I wasn't honoring her memory. It was all about me. I couldn't stop talking about me and how it affected me. And yes, we feel that way and that happens. But suddenly when I realized, you know what? I'm going to stop doing that. And I started to put the spotlight back on her and stop obsessing about her death. Such a relief. And it completely shifted my perspective about everything. Yeah, I hate that she died. It sucks. It really sucks. But I'm not going to hijack the story of her life with my own stupid misery. And when I just made that decision, it just clicked. And I started to feel better. And that was my very first step into healing. Because healing does not involve changing the situation because it happened. You really can't change it. The situation doesn't change, we change. And in that moment, I started to change and I started to get better. Was the world all sunshine and roses after that? Oh, hell no. No, 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 no. But everything shifted and I started to see things differently. And once I had opened my mind to not being so locked in to how I felt and started to be more open to new thoughts and new perspectives, guess what? More came. And over time, I did feel better and better. And it happened completely naturally. I'm sharing this story because if it happened to me, I think it can happen to you too. And maybe if you see what it looks like, you'll be more open to it if something pops in like that did, because I did not see that coming. In my next video, I want to talk about an aspect of grief that was just incredibly excruciating for me personally. And I feel like it's an aspect of grief that no one ever talks about. There are so many painful things around grief. I'm not going to lie. I don't mean to single this one out, but the reason I am is because I feel like no one talks about it. No one realizes it's happening, and it just stews and stews over time and just gets worse and worse. So as soon as I have that video made, you can find that video right here.